Welcome back to the show, everybody. It just keeps getting deeper. Breaking news. Former SEC Chairman Clayton directed Perkins Coie to draft the memo giving Ethereum and Bitcoin a unique advantage in the crypto space. We're also going to hear from Jay Clayton today. We're also going to hear from Charles Gasparino on Fox about the mess of this case and the crypto space because of the SEC and Gary Gensler. You know what? Somebody just roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove, and everything that we're talking about here today, $1.983 trillion crypto market cap. We're watching it. It's slowly creeping back up here, 5.48% for the market cap collectively here. I'm not going to run through the numbers. Let's look at XRP very quickly. At 99 cents, we've been as far as 101.83, the low end of the price range at 0.9370. We'll keep an eye on it. We do know that there is a possibility to see this retrace in a healthy manner all the way back down to the 76 range. If it does, I am going to buy another bag because I've become a disciplined investor in dollar cost average and buying the dips. It's not financial advice, just sharing what I'm going to do. Everybody's got to make up their own mind. Here we go. Let's get into the news because there's a lot of it. This is Judy Shelton, the gold bug, who'd like to see a new system put in place in a cryptocurrency sort of way. She's talking just about the economy and the Fed really trimming back their biggest taper that they've talked about is tapering back on the Fed's timeline. And as they do, inflation is going to ensue, is what she's talking about here. Let's listen to this quick clip.
Some of the things that perhaps you wish had started earlier do seem to be on the table now in terms of starting some tapering and maybe eventual rate hikes coming in sooner than maybe previously had been indicated. Are some of those things positive for you with what you heard yesterday?
It's really mixed, Joe. I don't see anything new. The taper agenda is exactly what has been predicted. We knew it had to happen before the end of the year. So now on schedule, it looks like it will be announced in November and started in December. And if they whittle down that $120 billion per month in purchasing government-backed debt by, say, $15 billion each month, by about July, they will have finished it out. Meantime, they will have spent another $600 billion. The Fed's balance sheet will be up to $9 trillion. That's approaching 40% of GDP. And will any of that affect inflation? I really don't think so, because I think the money that the Fed has been spending to buy government-backed debt has just been to bail out the government. I mean, if it's monetary stimulus, was it meant to create jobs? Because that's not our problem. We have plenty of jobs that are going unanswered. And so the inflation that we're actually seeing now in the CPI, in the Consumer Price Index, has much more to do with limited supply and maximum demand because of fiscal stimulus. So I'm afraid that the Fed's tapering is going to seem like some kind of signal, but we could still end up with inflation, maybe lackluster growth, less than maximum employment, and then the Fed is down to using that big weapon of raising interest rates.
And obviously, once they raise interest rates, then you got a real crap storm on your hands. That's how we see that. But I tell you what, there's a price to keeping your eye on the ball. Ripple pilots a private ledger for central banks launching CBDCs, which we've known. But this is a reminder right here that Bhutan, the province of Bhutan, which borders the southern side of China and the northern side of India's border, is absolutely moving forward with that partnership and piloting their central bank digital currency using Ripple as a partner. Very, very exciting. How Ripple is able to keep their eye on the ball with all of the stuff they have to deal with the lawsuit with the SEC, and understanding that Ethereum absolutely got a free pass. And we're about to look at some extremely damning evidence. It is no longer anyone's speculation. It is a fact, Jack. that they absolutely got a free pass, and we're going to take a look at it here in just a second. But this is a quick reminder. I covered this in the video this morning, but I just want to let you know, if you haven't seen the video from this morning, the Fed is supposed to release a paper this past summer and did not on digital currency for the Fed, but they plan to soon enough. And they also tell us that they are going to be they are building currently right now a new settlement system for the Fed. So that is very exciting. We know Ripple is a blockchain infrastructure company. I have to wonder, knowing that they've been working with the Federal Reserve Faster Payments Task Force since back in 2015, 2017 timeframe, I have to wonder, at what point do we find out that the Fed is actually going to use some of that infrastructure from Ripple? And I do believe at some point it will include the XRP ledger and the XRP token. My speculation, not financial advice. But this is further information that central bank digital currencies and banks are really continuing to push forward. Central bank digital currency is digital money issued by central banks, if you don't know. And we know that Singapore, Malaysia, and Australia are all set to begin the testing that we reported on a couple weeks ago. Things are moving forward, even though they feel like from a retail investor side that they're not. This is Charles Gasparino from Fox News, or Fox Business, I guess it is. And he's on, I believe, Neil Cavuto's show here. And he is absolutely crushing it in the space, doing a great job bringing a bright light to the inconsistencies of the Fed and what kind of problems it is causing for all of crypto and not just Ripple. Listen here.
That's going to change the way we transact business, which a lot of people say. And is your approach going to hurt or help that? I think that's something that Pat Toomey, the senator from Pennsylvania, would like to say. Clearly, if the Republicans were in Congress, they'd have him up on the Hill saying that right now, given some of the lobbying pressure from the crypto industry. So, Neil, I can't tell you where this is going, but we are clearly at a crossroads, in regulatory crossroads here. Gensler is hell-bent, even though his powers on crypto are pretty constrained. I mean, he has to prove that anything like this is a security. How do you prove something's a security, like a bond or a stock, and regulated by the SEC? Well, it has to pass certain tests. There's something known as the Hawley test. First, we should point out that Bitcoin wasn't declared a security. Ethereum, the Ether, crypto that goes to Ethereum, wasn't considered a security. XRP, people can't understand why it is. So this thing is all over the place. And I can tell you there's a battle brewing both inside the SEC between Peirce and Gensler, I believe, at least rhetorically. I mean, I'm sure they're not punching each other in the face, but I think they are going to ideologically clash. And the industry and academics on where this whole thing is going. Listen, where was the internet perfect in 1995? I mean, I don't know. Maybe, Gensler was at Goldman at the time. Maybe his firm was underwriting all sorts of crappy internet stocks back then. I remember. I don't see him turning around saying, "Oh, the internet was a big mistake."
What a great point. Yeah, don't forget Gary Gensler's an old white shoe boy from back in the day. Yeah. Well, we got more trouble in front of us because we know that Biden's nominated anti-crypto, anti-big bank law professor to run the OCC. It's Michael Hugh right now, but the person they're putting in place here is going to be Saul Omarova. And she has levied criticism at both crypto assets and legacy banking sector. Now, where this stops, no one really knows, but she does say that she is once pledged to end banking as we know it. She has characterized cryptocurrency as benefiting mainly the dysfunctional financial system we already have. According to a Wednesday report, Bloomberg citing 3 anonymous sources familiar with the nomination process, Omarova could be nominated as soon as this week, they say. We know, if confirmed, Omarova's tenure at the OCC would likely comprise a significant shift from the previous administration, with Brian Brooks, formerly a Coinbase legal officer there and a proponent for the actual digital asset space and the technology itself. So I tell you, there are things that are really playing into Gary Gensler's favor. I remind you also that, Gary Gensler is a part of that president's working group, and we know that Congress thus far has not really stepped in to stop him. And that is really concerning in itself. However, DAI has been on the warpath, just finding amazing information here that shows more and more clear evidence that it was not William Hinman's opinion and opinion alone and not the SEC. It was really coming from Perkins Coie and large part Lowell Ness. That's where it was coming from. Listen to this quick clip right here.
We think gets both Bitcoin and Ether out of securities law status. And sort of the way I positioned it in the memo was, that's kind of like a bookend. That's like an easy case. Like if it's fully decentralized, there's no real issuer, so it's relatively easy to test for a fully decentralized.
No real issuer, huh?
Full decentralization, and that's what the Hinman speech, which tracks my memo pretty well.
Tracks his memo pretty well. I thought these were the words of William Hinman and his opinion alone.
Has come out and said, and the Hinman speech has generally said, okay, decentralization, we think, gets both Bitcoin and Ether out of securities law status.
So they're trying to find a way to make the argument to get Bitcoin and Ethereum out of the purview of the SEC. Now, why would they be working so hard to do that?
And sort of the way I position it in the
And then he's and sort of the way I position it, the way you positioned it is to ignore the fact that they did an initial coin offering, crooked bastard.
Memo was, that's kind of like a bookend. That's like an easy case. Like if it's fully decentralized.
Yeah, all cases are easy if we can ignore the fact that they actually did an initial coin offering. And here it is right here from Gateway Pundit. Says breaking exclusive, former SEC Chairman Clayton directed Perkins Coie to draft a memo giving Ethereum and Bitcoin a unique advantage in crypto space. Then his SEC sued their top competitor on the day Chairman Clayton left the SEC. How convenient is that? And if we come down here, they are citing the video and information that DAI had found, and shout out to him for all the amazing work he's been doing here. And what I'm going to do is play you a compilation clip that really gives you what you need to know here, because this video is straight fire, and this video indicates Jay Clayton was with attorney Lowell Ness at a meeting at Venture Firm with Andreessen Horowitz in January 25th, 2018, 6 months or so before the William Hinman speech, where the former SEC chairman asked them for advice and suggestions for a playbook that would essentially become the SEC's guidelines that were hidden behind the supposed opinion of William Hinman. Now, I'm no lawyer, I can tell you that, but it appears that somebody should be losing or disbarred from the ability to practice law anymore, at the very least, if not beyond that. Listen to this clip here.
2017 was really based on kind of the SEC's statements to us privately and to the world publicly that there would really be no rulemaking, no action letters, no public rules of the road. That
maybe that's a decided lack of clarity, like what Hester Peirce talks about, right? There'll be no rulemaking. There'll be no action letters. We're looking to create confusion.
Full decentralization, and that's what the Hinman speech, which tracks my memo pretty well, has come out and said, and both Bitcoin and Ether out of securities law status.
So what you have to wonder is did Perkins Coie at any point purchase a large amount of Ethereum and Bitcoin, knowing they had the ear of the SEC that they're suggesting and making this memo to about how to get Bitcoin and Ethereum in a place where they are not held to the SEC Howey test?
And sort of the way I positioned it in the memo was, that's kind of like a bookend. That's like an easy case. Like
I'm going to remind you that my remarks are mine alone, not necessarily those of the commission, the commissioners, or the staff.
Now we know for a fact that that's a lie.
So what we're trying to say is we don't see a lot of value in treating Ether today as a security.
Well, isn't that interesting? They don't see a lot of value in treating Ether today as a security. Totally ignoring the initial coin offering. Totally lying about the fact that it's his own personal opinion when Lowell Ness couldn't help it. He had to say, I wrote a memo for which William Hinman seemed to track it pretty well, right? They gotta get the credit. They can't sit back and just shut up. They had to tell us, didn't they?
Full decentralization, and that's what the Hinman speech, which tracks my memo pretty well, has come out and said. And
I'm going to remind you that my remarks are mine alone, not necessarily those of the commission, the commissioners, or the staff.
Op-ed piece in the, I can't remember if it's the Times or the Journal, but Grunfest is a professor at Stanford, himself a former SEC commissioner. So when he called out the SEC for not enforcing it, I'm sure Jay took it to heart. So Jay went on the warpath, did these scathing speeches and calling out the industry and everybody. So, but he then, after talking to Grunfest in a fireside chat at the Stanford campus, made his way over to see Andreessen the next morning. And this is the part that now not a lot of people know.
And now we all know. Thanks, Lowell Ness. We'll take it from here to the mainstream media. Ethereum absolutely got a free pass. The question is why? Maybe that's what Hester Pierce was even talking about when she used the phrase a decided lack of clarity. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. One has to wonder if that is exactly what Hester Peirce meant when she talked about a decided lack of clarity in the coin schedule case when it comes to the SEC, a lack of clarity for market participants around the application of securities law to digital assets and their trading, as is evidenced by the request each of us receives for clarity and the consistent outreach to the commission staff for no action and other relief. I tell you, something here does not smell right. And yet, Jay Clayton was on CNBC this morning. Shout out to Crypto Law 360 and Tim R614. Give them all a follow. And listen to this, because he wants us to know he did not have any affiliation with the companies that he advises since he left the SEC. We're supposed to believe him now, knowing what the truth really is, now that we've seen Digital Asset Investor kick up most of it here, right? Keep listening.
Critics seem to believe, which is that in your final days at the head of the SEC brought a case against Ripple. Now you're advising some other companies in this space, and they point out or suggest that this is a conflict.
Well, Andrew, let me say that we brought a number of cases during my tenure at the SEC in the ICO space, offerings and securities that were not following our rules around registration for wide distribution to the public. I'm not going to comment specifically on the case you mentioned. But in terms of my after-government service in the space, what I can say is that the companies that I advise, I don't want to be promoting them, but one is an institutional asset manager, another is a what I would call an infrastructure buyer. I did not know these companies while I was in the government. I was introduced to them after I exited, did my due diligence as to whether I would be an advisor, and chose to do so.
Now, if that doesn't sound like a man trying to get out in front of some trouble he knows is headed to his doorstep, I don't know what does. We're supposed to believe that, but look what has been uncovered from before that was obviously less than truthful and accurate. Again, maybe this is a part of what Hester Peirce may have meant when she was talking about a decided lack of clarity. I know one thing, there is certainly a lack of clarity at the very least about all of this, and it needs to be highly investigated because some of this we already know some real answers to already, and they're not good. That's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below, share with somebody you know, hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Make sure you check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. Ladies and gentlemen, it's linked to Ripple right now. Still sold out, I believe, right? Yeah, still sold out right here. And Adapar has been added, but Ripple's, it may be back on the board. Check it out. Uphold, Kraken, Link to. I mean, there's amazing products on this platform. Private investing made simple. Make sure you check and see if you're accredited. And if you are, make sure you hurry up and get it because none of it lasts for very long. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you on the next one.